Hello, welcome to Michelle Sews again. I'm Michelle. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's another hashtag Friday Sews Day. So, as I mentioned last week, Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, who was the creator of Friday Sews, the concept of it, she has started a Facebook group for any other sewing vloggers that have been or want to participate in the Friday Sews hashtag. So I will link the Facebook group in the description box below. So if you do participate in Friday Sews, then go join the group. It's a fun group. We're still getting up and running, but what Jen has decided to do is to have a prompt for every week that just gives us something new on top of like the traditional format that we've been using for Friday Sews. Gives us like one new idea to talk about every week. This week's prompt is, what's the craziest thing that you've ever made? So I kind of took that in probably a different way, because I haven't made anything that I think is like crazy from a, like, I don't know what perspective you would think of, but like I'm thinking of like crazy costumes or just something extravagant or something like that. I haven't done anything like that. So I kind of looked at it a couple of different ways, and I have two things to share with you, neither of which I don't think you would look at and think, oh my God, that's crazy. It's more the idea behind it. I don't know, I'm rambling now. So let me kind of just jump into it. All right, so the first thing that I want to share with you is actually something that I knitted, and it's not a sewn project. So the reason, and let me show it to you. So it's just this pretty little peach sweater, and it's just two squares that are knit. They're exactly the same, and you seam them together at the shoulders and on the sides. Oh, I got a hole in there. It's okay, it didn't fit me anymore anyway. But the reason that I think this is crazy is because this is actually the very first thing that I ever knit, period. I believe I've told this story in the past, but when I was in college, the summer in between my freshman and sophomore years in college, my dad moved from Louisiana to Michigan for work. And I decided to go up and visit and stay the summer. So my stepmother flew down to Louisiana, and we drove up to Michigan from Louisiana in my little Toyota Celica, and so that I would have a car to like bounce around in all summer. And I didn't know anybody there except for my dad, my stepmom, my two stepbrothers. So my sister ended up coming up, sometime during the summer, but the first like month and a half of the summer, I was just there with my stepmother and my stepbrothers. I was in college. My stepbrothers were like junior high and high school. We weren't hanging out. So my stepmother was taking these knitting classes at a local yarn shop. Actually, I don't know that they were official knitting classes. I think it was more, there was the local yarn shop, and the owner would teach people, like, I think maybe one-on-one. I don't really exactly remember. Anyway, my stepmother brought me with her. She asked me if I wanted to learn how to knit, and I love doing crafty stuff. I always have. So I was like, yeah, I would love to. She wanted to teach me to knit, and she said, we're gonna start with a pot holder. And I said, no. And she said, what do you mean no? I said, no, I don't cook. I don't need a pot holder. She goes, no. It's just for practice. I said, I don't wanna spend my time making something that I'm not gonna use. So she was like, okay, well then let's start with a scarf. And I said, no, I live in Louisiana. I don't need to wear a scarf. So I was insistent that my very first project ever was gonna be a sweater. So she relented, and we found a sweater pattern. I found one that, and she was still like, that's, your first project should be something that you're just knitting. Like, I'll teach you the purl stitch later. I was like, no, I can do it. So I don't know, I still look back and I think that's pretty impressive for a first ever project. Now, I do have some issues here, like my seams are, coming apart now, but I wore the heck out of this sweater, and that's easy to fix. I mean, that's just the seam coming undone. It's not any stitches unraveling, but I mean, that's pretty impressive for a first ever project. I think so. I mean, I look at it, I don't see a lot of missed stitches. So to me, this was crazy because I was just what do you call just like a very confident youngster. I was like adamant that I was gonna knit a sweater the very first time I picked up knitting needles, and I did it. All right, so the second thing that I think is kind of crazy, but it's not really. I think it's just crazy from a standpoint where most people wouldn't wear this the way that I intended to wear it. So I had seen, I get ads, as we all do, on Instagram and Facebook, and I love Anthropologie. I've mentioned that before. I love their style. I love a lot of the prints that they use. It's just my vibe. And I had an ad, I can't remember if it was Instagram or Facebook, that like came through that was a woman wearing a silver sequins duster. She was wearing it with jeans and a t-shirt and combat boots or something. And I'm like, yes, that is a look I would wear. So I wanted to make the duster, a sequins duster, but I wanted to make it in rose gold. So I did. I found a pattern on Amazon. It was actually a big 4 pattern, but it is, I mean, it's not fitted. You know, it's just an open cardigan, floor length. Well, I think it's mid calf length. And I found this rose gold fabric on Amazon. This is the cheapest fabric ever. It was, gosh, I want to say it was like $6 or $7 a yard, maybe. I think I bought 4 yards of it, because most like rose gold sequins fabrics are super expensive. And I was just new to sewing at the time, or back at it. And anyway, so yeah, I made this with the intention of wearing this with jeans and a t-shirt to the office on a regular basis. So I think that's why I think this is crazy, because I don't think most people would wear a full-length sequins duster to the office, but I certainly would. Now, I made this during COVID after the office was shut down, and I haven't been back in the office yet, so I haven't really had a chance to wear it. I did wear it one day for Me Made May, and I wore it around the house, and it made me happy. The problem with this fabric is that the sequins fall off, and we literally have rose gold sequins all over the house when I wear it. So that's as crazy as I can get with my makes. So the next thing that I want to talk about is an update on hashtag Sew Purple to End ALZ. I have not posted about this as much as I wanted to. October's been a lot tougher for me than I expected it to be. As I mentioned in my intro video, which I will link up here, it's 1 year, October marks 1 year since we lost my dad to Alzheimer's, which is why I started the hashtag. I want to bring awareness to the disease, hopefully raise a little bit of money for it, because I think a lot of people, if you have not had a loved one or someone close to you that has dealt with this, then you might be under the misperception that it's simply a loss of memory. And there's just so much more to it. It completely changes people's personalities. They lose the ability for their brain to tell their body how to function. It's just the most horrible, it's one of the most horrible diseases. I mean, there's plenty of horrible diseases, but because I've dealt with this one personally, it's to me one of the most horrible. But on top of that, October marks 6 years since we lost my mom, and her loss was sudden. We didn't expect it. It came out of nowhere. And so it's just hit me harder than I expected it to. You know, I acknowledge my mom's loss every year, and it's always tough, like the couple of days around it. But I think because I did the hashtag and I'm thinking about it like every day, it's just been a little bit tougher than I expected. So I haven't participated as much in Instagram as I had planned on. So please forgive me for that. But I also want to let you know how overwhelmed I am with the response. So many people have been so amazing and participating and doing like beautiful purple makes. It's been so much fun to follow the hashtag and see what people are making and to share their makes in my stories. So if you didn't know, then make sure that you're checking out my stories, because I'm sharing as I see them. I'm sharing people's makes for the hashtag. And I will be spending this weekend going through. My goal is to put all of the entries into a spreadsheet so that I can do the random prize generator. If you're not already aware, the prizes, we have some PDF patterns from StyleArc and some gift cards from Rebecca Page Patterns. And then I've also ice dyed some fabric, 3 yards of cotton fabric that's also gonna be a prize. And the prizes are open internationally, so I would love if you would think about participating in the hashtag. If you're not on Instagram, I do have a Facebook page that you can send entries on, and you can also find my email address in the description box. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know how grateful I am for everybody that's participated. For all the kind words, for all the stories. There's so many people that have dealt with this really close to home, people that are still dealing with it really close to home. And I'm just like really overwhelmed with the response, and so grateful for everybody that has let me know I'm not alone. I'm not eloquent in these kinds of things. So I just want to say thank you. I want to also let you know that Lynn, who is a wonderful woman who has been following me on YouTube, she is also dealing with this from a personal perspective, somebody in her family that she's caring for. So she wanted to participate in this challenge, and so she has so generously ordered some tags that she's willing to send out to people. She has 250 of them. Anybody who has participated in the Sew Purple to End ALZ hashtag can reach out to Lynn and request a label to sew into their garment if they so wish. So I'm gonna pop a picture of the label up here, and I'm gonna put Lynn's email address on the screen here and also in the description box. Reach out to her if you're interested in a label, and she will get one in the mail to you. And she's done this with her own money. She's gonna mail them to you with her own money. She wouldn't take any money from me. And I just think that that is like so amazingly generous of her to do that. So please consider taking one of these labels and sewing it into your purple garment or whatever purple thing you might have made. So thank you so much, Lynn. I'm very grateful, and I think it's just amazing what you've done. All right, so moving on to Friday Sews stuff. So what have I made this week? Not a whole lot. As I said, I've kind of been struggling over the last couple of weeks, and so I haven't really had a lot of motivation to be very productive from a craft and sewing perspective. I have made a few things, so I have a couple things to share. The first thing that I made was the Rebecca Page Paris Day dress. I made this in collaboration with Natita from So Natural Dane. We posted our videos on Sunday. So I will link in the cards here to both my video and to Natita's video. We both made the same dress, but we used different fabrics, and I tie-dyed my fabric. And so we both did purple. Obviously, that's why I reached out to her to partner with, because if you follow Natita, then you know her favorite color is purple. So it seemed like the perfect fit. So go and check out Natita's video if you haven't already. So the next thing that I've kind of played around with, I wouldn't say it's something I've made, although I did make some things, is I mentioned last Friday that I bought stuff to make resin buttons. And so I have done that, and I wanted to share with you the ones that I've kind of played around with. So I don't know how good these are gonna come out, but that is, so you can see it's kind of, you can see the clear, the resin is clear. And then this one has little like iridescent purple flakes in it. So I have two of those. This one I used, I think, different color flakes, but it looks the same. Then I have this one that has the flakes in it, but then this one didn't come out so good. So this one I have, what's it called? Some like powder pigment. And I tried just like rubbing it on the inside of the mold and then pouring the resin on top and then putting some flakes. The pigment didn't do what I thought it would. It kind of rubs off, and I thought it would meld with the resin, and it didn't really, so it kind of looks cloudy. So that one was not a success. Whoops. So I won't do that again. So because of so because of the way that one reacted, I decided to mix the pigment in with the resin before pouring it in the mold, and then I got this. And I love this one. Look at the color of that. It's like a greeny, purpley, bronzy, browny kind of color. It's so cool. So that one came out cool. And then I did that same thing. I mixed a different color resin. So I got, different color pigment. I got 6 different pigment colors. And so I mixed a like bluish one, and then I put some green iridescent flakes in. So I kind of combined 2 different elements there. This one is just glitter. It's like a multicolored glitter. And then this is just the pigment, but a little tiny, cute little tiny button. So those are my buttons that I've played around with. The one thing if you've made resin buttons, I am having a really hard time finding a resin button mold that has multiples of the same size. The mold that I have is small, and it's got a bunch of different sizes. So if I want to make a bunch of buttons in this size, I have to do them one at a time, which is not super time consuming because it takes like 2 minutes per button to cure. But still, I don't want to do one at a time. I'd like to do assembly line and do them all like at the same time. So if you know of any, it's got to be a clear mold. To work with the UV light, it's got to be a clear mold. So whether you're doing it with the light or you can use UV resin with the sunlight, but the sun still has to get to the resin. So when you're using these molds, you cure it from the top and then you flip it over again and you cure it from the bottom so that the UV rays get through to the resin. So it's got to be able to get through the mold. So I need a clear button mold with multiples of the same size button. Let me know if you have a resource for that. I've not been able to find one. All right, so that's pretty much all I've made this week, but I do have a couple of things in progress that I wanted to share with you. So I started making this top. I know I shared that I was going to use this fabric for, I think I said I was going to use it for the Love Notions Classic Tee. Am I making that up? I did. I'm pretty sure that's what I said I was going to use it for, but I changed my mind because that's what I do. So I am using it to make the Style Arc Rhea knit top, which is a raglan sleeve, dolman? It's a dolman sleeve top. So it's a grown-on sleeve, a bat wing. Let's call it a bat wing top. And so I have the front pieces and the back pieces all sewn together. All I have left is to put the neckband on and to hem the sleeves and the bottom. So that'll go pretty quick. And it's another purple make for Sew Purple to End ALZ. So I'll be posting this on Instagram either tonight or tomorrow, depending on how I feel and whether I get into that. All right. The other thing that I have in progress, I talked about making a color blocked crossbody bag last week, and I finally got far enough where I've cut it out. And so this will be, I will sew this weekend, but I am making the Lois Crossbody Bag. And this is from I Think So. And this is going to be my tester version. So all of the fabrics don't necessarily go together all that great. It's not terrible, but I was just playing around. And so I have this outdoor fabric that I was going to use for the bottom front. So this will be this bottom piece, and it'll be the side gusset. And then I didn't really have anything else in my stash that kind of went with that. So I found in my big trash basket full of remnants, I found some muslin that I had left over from when I made my coveralls several months ago. And so I decided to tie dye or ice dye it, and I used a bunch of different shades of orange. So this will be the top. So the colors, the orange colors aren't exactly the same tones, but like I said, it's a test version, so it's not that big of a deal. And then I just got I had some remnants of this purple seersucker stripe that I was going to use for the lining. So just playing around with that to see if I can figure out how to follow the instructions. And then once I feel good about that, then I will make a version with my hot pink pigskin leather and my purple like buttery leather. And that's gonna be awesome. All right, I am currently in the process of doing another reverse ice dye on on an old t-shirt and an old pair of leggings that I have. And I'm thinking I'm gonna do, cause I just bought a whole bunch more dye. So I'm really amassing a nice collection of different colors of the Procyon dyes from Dharma Trading Company. And so I bought a bunch of blues and a bunch of greens. So I'm gonna do one of the items in different shades of blue and one of them in different shades of green. I'll put a little bit of the other color. So like if I do the top, let's say in all the colors of blue, I might put a smidge of green in there, because then I'll do the pants in a bunch of colors of green and I'll put a smidge of blue so that they kind of tie together, if that makes sense. All right, what's next on my list? So I still need to make my sister-in-law's Molly jacket. And if you recall, I asked you guys to vote on what so this is my main, well, I don't know if there's a main because it's reversible, but I knew that I was gonna use this purple fabric on one side. It's a suiting fabric that I got from Mood last year. That's lovely, but it's not my style, so I'm not gonna use it for anything from me, but she loves purple, so I think she'll really like this. And then I've asked you to vote on the second fabric, and you guys voted for this one other than the multicolor one that I had as my second option. And I think that would look nice. However, in the meantime, I have ice dyed another piece of fabric just because I was playing around with folds and I had something in my head that I hadn't seen anybody do. So this is the pattern, this is the fabric that made. And I think it came out nice. I'll insert a bigger picture here, but I think that's gonna look really nice together. So I think I'm gonna use this for the other side of my sister-in-law's Molly jacket. I think that'll look really pretty. And then I bought some white sweatshirt fabric from, I think, Nick of Time Textiles, is that what it's called? But it's just a solid white. It's just traditional sweatshirt material, so it's like jersey looking on one side, and then it's got that fleecy, furry fleecy on the other. And then I also bought some white ribbing. And my goal here is to make a sweatshirt dress. I am undecided on which pattern I want to make though, so I am going to create a poll on my community page, and I'd love for you to go over and vote. So I am trying to decide between the Style Arc Anderson knit dress or the Rebecca Page hoodie dress. So I'll post the pictures up here. Think about it. I'm gonna obviously be ice dyeing the fabric. I don't know what colors yet. And those are the two patterns I'm trying to decide between. So let me know what your thoughts are, which one you'd like to see me make. And I will, like I said, go over to my community page and vote for it there. All right, I did forget to, one thing that I have in progress, I jumped ahead too fast, is my knitting project. So last week I mentioned that I was starting a new shawl, and I was using the hand spun yarn that Sarah from Naughty Gnome sent to me, which is just so beautiful. Look at all the different colors in there. And that it went really well with some of the colors that I was going to use for the Stephen West shawl that I've decided not to do because it was just too involved. This one is just a striped shawl, and you alternate the colors. So you have a solid piece at the bottom, and then you start alternating the colors. And then when you get halfway, you change the solid color that you're alternating with. So I'll be changing that to, I should have brought it over, but it's a rust color. Yeah, it's a rusty orange that I think will look really good with this. So that'll switch over when I get to the halfway point. But at this point, this is what I have done. It looks much nicer once it's blocked. But you can see here, I got carried away and I lost track of my stripes. But we're gonna call that a design feature, as Andrew likes to say. So, yeah, I love the way these colors are mixing together. They look just beautiful. Sarah's yarn is a dream to work with. It's just gorgeous. And this shawl is coming out like super squishy and cozy, and I can't wait to finish it. I'm so excited. Well, I think that's it. It's come to the end. Let me know what your thoughts are on anything that I've talked about today. I have had a couple of requests to maybe do a video on how I make the resin buttons. So I think it's super easy. Once I get my technique a little more refined, I think I will do a video on that in the next couple of weeks. Don't forget to go and vote for which sweatshirt dress I should make. And that's it. So wherever you are, I hope the weather is amazing, and I hope you're able to get some sewing in. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.